You know that heat when you go through an airport in a hot country and the door opens and the heat just slaps you in the face? Well, it's like that here. I'm in Bristol in the UK and it's absolutely melted. The heat at 11 o'clock, it's 29 degrees and it's going to go up to 31. So it's mental. Shorts weather. I'll spare you the detail on that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's my first time out with a camera doing street photography since before the pandemic. Obviously, we're still in the middle of the pandemic now, sort of middle of August. But I wanted to talk to you about how street photography changed. Now, I've been a bit nervous about coming out with a camera. I don't really get nervous because I do it enough for a living, and I don't really get nervous about going out with a camera. But I am with this, and I don't know what it is. I think there's kind of a vibe that's missing with street photography now, and I know the good thing about street photography, and the important thing is to document what's going on, and it's really important that we get these photographs so years to come we look back and go, do you remember 2020, that mental year with the virus and all the masks and all that? So it will be a really important thing to do, but there's a lot that's making me feel uneasy about it. Like, it's not my confidence massively, and I'm wondering how people are going to feel about having their photograph taken now. And obviously with street photography, you're trying to be inconspicuous and low-key and all that sort of thing. So I'm wondering if I'm going to need a bit of a different approach, so a different camera, different lens. So I've got the X-T4 with me today. I've got the X100V in the bag. So I'm filming on X-T4, and obviously I like to, nearly an ant's nest here, I like to photograph with my X100V, 35mm equivalent lens. But I'm thinking I've got this lens as a backup if I need to change, or if I need to stand back and zoom in a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see where my focal length will be at the end of the day. So I've got all day in Bristol, walking around. It's a really scorching day, so plenty of light, plenty of shadows. Really nice contrasty day. Absolutely loving it. But yeah, I'm just wondering, because I mean, the whole, the exciting part for street photography for me, a lot of the time when I look at other people's photographs as well, is to see the facial expressions that people pull. And I'm just worried that masks are going to hide that. Obviously masks are an important part of documenting what's going on now, otherwise you'd never know. But I just feel like the vibe's changed. And I've been walking around Bristol for about half an hour, and I think people are genuinely like nervous to approach people, or to be approached by people. So yeah, it's going to be a fun day, it's going to be a challenge, but I wonder whether people will start using things like iPhones more, and mobile phones in general, just to do street photographs, because it's a lot more sort of indiscreet and you can pretend to be doing selfies and that sort of thing. So I'm wondering how, it's not necessarily going to last forever, but I'm wondering how street photography is going to change. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Have you been nervous about going out with the camera? Join the Facebook group, Street Photography Creators, because a lot of people have been discussing how street photography might have changed on there. So do join that. And let's wander on. I've got a couple of hours, so yeah, let's try and find some cool shots. See if we get any drama. Yeah, looking forward to this. First things first, I'm going to set up the camera, because I've been using this down the beach yesterday, so we're going to try and meter the scene manually. So all I've got to do is walk around thinking about compositions, whether I'm going to focus in front of me or I'm going to focus at infinity. Apologies, you're not going to be able to see this, but we know the aperture is going to be on f11 because I want the depth of field. I want to be able to focus at infinity. So what we'll do now is select that far building, focus on that. So let's make sure the camera's on manual focus, which is not. There you are. Camera's on manual focus. Let's focus on the back building. Now it says down here on focus at infinity. ISO will leave, but let's just see now what if I go ISO 160 and the shutter speed is saying 60th of a second, that's a bit weird. So I want at least 500. So if I go to 500, which is what my shutter speed is, now lift the ISO until the histogram touches the far right. I'm just making sure I'm in natural live view, because that gives me the more accurate version of the raw. So I can go to ISO 500 f11. So what I could do is go f8 and a faster shutter speed, but 500th of a second is fine. Rather the depth of field, happy with 500. So 500th of a second, f11, 500 ISO, and that doesn't do anything because we're in manual anyway. But then we can see that the histogram is just near the right, not too far. So we've got plenty of leeway, about a stop under. So we could lift the ISO a little bit, but I think I'm all right with that. And so now all I've got to do is find my compositions. I haven't got to think about camera settings. As long as the person isn't more than 2 meters from, sorry, isn't closer than 2 meters from the camera, they're going to be sharp. And yeah, that easy. So the camera I can just ignore now. and just look for compositions, because no matter where I point this camera, the exposure should be right, because I've exposed for the brightest part of the scene. Fantastic bit of architecture in this area. It all looks relatively new. Really awesome contrast and whatnot there. So I might wait here, see if I can get a shot there. I'm waiting for somebody to come into the light part. But I really like this area, this building up here. And pointing the camera up like that, if I could get a silhouette of something in the foreground. Kind of nicking the idea of one of the images I've seen of Mark Fernley recently. So yeah, just love the lines and all the fantastic angles and whatnot here, geometry. Just need to get the camera pretty much on the floor, looking up there like that. So obviously we're pre-focused at f11 to infinity, so we know that building's going to be sharp. I'm just going to wait around here for another 5 minutes, because I did get a guy with the luggage, but the GoPro didn't, the Osmo didn't turn on quick enough. I really like this sort of shape going here, zigzagging up that. And I really like this line going up here, which it does. If I got one person up there, which I've just missed, but I really hate that signage on the windows. It ruins it for me. But if I've got one person, I might be forced to cheat and knock that signage out. Let me know, would you get rid of that signage in the windows? Because it ruins it for me. Well, I don't really like pictures on the angle, but now, I'll say this, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I've only been going an hour, it's only 12:30, so I've got quite a few shots that were a bit of fun. But I'm actually noticing not that many people wearing masks outside. I've not been anywhere inside. And there's very little people sitting around with a mask on outside, so it's almost like I was worrying over nothing. Well, it is like I was worrying over nothing. Because within half an hour I completely forgot about what I was worried about, and people don't seem bothered, and especially with this little camera, because no one really notices it anyway. So yeah, I was worrying over nothing. Hairdressers here with the, what do you call it, the masks on and stuff. That looks really smart.
Right, I've got any trousers on this thing as well.
Now that you've said it, I can't unsee it. These lines are cool. I was here an hour ago in this market and these lines weren't here. So it just goes to show that light will change and how the scene changes. Yeah, so you desperately need to be able to see the mask. Oh, here's a guy with a mask and a lady with a mask. So let's go there. Oh, that might be cool. But she looked towards the camera and the light caught her face, so that might be quite cool. Right, back to where we started. It's about 3 hours before sunset, so the sun is lowering down, we get some cool shadows. So I thought I'd come back to this location and see how the scene has changed. And I'll finish off here, and what I'll do is I'll just work the scene, I'll just walk around and have a look, see what the shadows are like, and see how the different light has changed my sort of attitude to the location. So yeah, this is going to be good. It's going to be good. There's a lot of kids around here, that's the only thing, so I need to be aware of that. But now that the sun's setting, it should be really, really good with the light being on the side. It should be able to get some really nice side lit contrast and all that. So really, really bright light coming down here, and the shadows are pointing straight to me. So I'm actually wondering whether or not I should shoot into the sun and do one of them upside down shots. So anticipating that I'm pointing at the floor with trying to get more of a silhouette of a person, more of a shape of a person. So I might wander up and down here, wait for somebody to give me a Mary Poppins kind of silhouette or something like that, and then flip it around, because otherwise it's a shame to lose this opportunity when the sun's going to set down there. I think I should get really, really cool, nice long shadows here. It might work, it might not. She don't know it, but she just saved my day. Just getting a bit frustrated, because when you come to a place like this, when it's really, really sort of modern and clean, and with the lights good as well, I wasn't finding a shot, and I was thinking, you know, I've only got 1 or 2 opportunities left, because the lights going behind the buildings, and it's going to get really tough. And I got to head back, and then I spotted this girl lying down on the. Well, actually, I spotted her sitting down. I love the belt she was wearing. This fucking belt made out of like bullets. And then when she lay down, put her feet on that bike, I was like, oh yes, that's brilliant. So yeah, really, really pleased with that. Got that. I had to change settings around a little bit because yeah, she was in the shade, but otherwise really pleased with that. So definitely. I always do this. I always feel like I haven't got anything I'm looking forward to seeing, but I'm pretty chuffed with that picture. Shame the light isn't there. There's always something about a photograph I don't like, and that one, that she's in the shade. Not my normal sort of shot, but I noticed one of these on the floor, so get the camera low down, below the background, F2. Just get it really low, that might work. This is cool, the little girls holding hand. What an evening, absolutely gorgeous. I've taken a few shots around here as well, but I'm not sure I'll show you them. We'll have to see, because a lot of kids there, so difficulty is obviously I don't want any identifiable kids in the picture, so there was one picture I took of a girl looking down, which might be quite good, but otherwise I took a nice shot of a guy handing another guy for money for a balloon. That will come out well. I tried to get the other guy's hand in as he gave him the money, but I think I just cropped it off a bit too much. But that would be a good shot, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm going to give it another 10 minutes, have a wander around, last minute dash, see how we get on. I'm looking at the heart. I see the lady in it and him out of it, so I'm either wondering if it's out of love. Got to be something there, isn't there? I either wish he wasn't there, or she could be looking for love, but never mind, can't have it both ways. Not as painful as I was expecting. I really enjoyed it. It was so good to be back on the streets with my camera, wandering around. with no clue what I was trying to achieve at all. But I was generally nervous, and thankfully I think I was worried over nothing, because I really did find after a short period of time I got straight into the swing of it. So really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Let me know in the comments which was your favourite photograph. I'll be really intrigued to see one or two that are probably quite different from a normal style. Also, just jump over to the Facebook group Street Photography Creators if you're not a member. It's a really good group, really good community, and it's more about critique and trying to help each other develop their street photography. So not just about getting likes and stuff like that and nice comments. It's more about critique and learning how to critique your images. But if you're not subscribed and you're not a member of the group, please do so, because there's some amazing news coming very, very shortly, and I can't wait to share that with you. So please hit the subscribe button, and you can get involved in my exciting new project. So I won't say any more just yet, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. So the purpose of this trip was to see, has street photography changed due to the pandemic that we've all gone through. And I think short term, yes, street photography has changed. I think we've all got to respect that. But it just shouldn't, there's a lot of people I've been speaking to that are very nervous about going out with the camera. I've been the same. Obviously we've had Paulie Ellis in the last couple of months anyway, so I've not been able to get out at all with my camera anyway, but he's okay now, so we can semi-return to normal. But street photography has changed. I think my confidence approach to street photography has changed. I think people are going to be nervous to go out with the cameras. They're going to be nervous to be seen sort of photographing other people out and about, and especially in confined spaces and stuff like that. So I think it has for everybody. But I think the gear that we use and the approach that we use to street photography, if we change that or adapt slightly temporarily, I think that's going to make it a bit easier, a bit more approachable. And a bit less sort of obvious. I think that's the key. I think with street photography, it's more important now, more so than ever, to be discreet and blend in the background. So perhaps using iPhones and smartphones to get you out and about, just to get your confidence. Perhaps using, I use my X100V, and I love it because of how small and discreet, and how people don't even really know you're taking a photograph. So that's really, really helpful, especially with the way things are at the minute. But yeah, stick a prime lens, a really, really small pancake lens on your camera. See if you can, if you've got a mirrorless camera, you can go into silent shooting. That's going to help. But also what you're going to be photographing, I think things like masks, shadows, I think you're going to be looking for PPE, so protective stuff like we have with the hairdresser and that sort of thing, arrows, one-way directions, that sort of thing. I think what you're going to notice, masks on the floor like I found discarded masks, what you're going to find now and what you're going to find interesting and relevant, because obviously street photography crucially is about photographing what's relevant for the time. So what you're going to find to shoot now is going to have changed. And the thing is, like workshops, I wonder if I've got a few street photography workshops booked in for people that are attending shoots with me. So obviously you're going to have to do smaller groups, or you're going to have to expect that everything you do is outside. So for the meanwhile, I think definitely workshops and things might have to change. But I think it's going to take us all time to adjust. I think the idea of shooting with a lower profile camera, something like that, or the Ricoh GRs or something like that, or if you've got a little tiny mirrorless that you can stick a pancake lens on, I think that's going to help us. But this isn't going to be around forever, I hope, and we can get back to normal. But it will take time for us to adjust. But it wasn't as worrying. It wasn't as I was nervous on the way on driving down there, but I was worrying over nothing. So can't encourage it enough. Get your camera, run out, no excuses now. Stick a prime on or something like that, and go looking for some shots. But let's jump over and have a look at the images I took, see what we like. The first image I got, I can't actually believe I managed to get the building in and this guy walking past very, very low. The camera's like on the floor like that, so I'm very, very, very surprised. Didn't obviously anticipate being able to get somebody with luggage walking past the building with a sign in the background that says UK's largest escape venue, and I thought that was brilliant because he's got the luggage, and that was complete fluke. And obviously then he's got the phone in his hand because he's looking for directions for it, and there's an arrow pointing that way. So if it wasn't for that sign, I don't think I'd like the image so much. But yeah, I really do like it otherwise. Naff light on him though. I don't like the light on the bloke at all, but yeah, it just about does the job. Really like this one. I didn't think I liked it at all when I took it. I didn't think it worked, but I was on a burst and I knew I wanted a half through the shadow, but just by dropping the shadows and dropping the blacks on the Fujifilm, obviously I got rid of the signage that was by the lady there, but on the angle as well. Normally verticals and stuff like that, I'm really OCD about getting these things vertical, so really, really happy with that. Like that shot. I love the zigzags going up to her. So one of my favourite shots of the trip that was, and probably the second or third photograph I took. Quite liked it. Obviously really liked the guy's attire, like the fact that he's got a mask. This was just entering where you had to put masks on, so yeah, it was pretty much most people in this area were wearing masks, so just waiting around I was just following people around that had smart attire or quirky attire, you know. Just I really like the idea of a businessman wearing the mask, so that worked. Don't like the light at all. The shadows in the background, the lines weren't that obvious when I took the picture, but they were later on with the light change. So yeah, I think I should have worked that scene a little bit better, but I do like the subject. Managed to get 500th of a second there indoors as well, just to keep any movement. I think I prefer this photograph. I don't know why. I think the light's probably a bit better on it, but I don't like the subject so much. I think I wish he'd kept his jacket on. But yeah, it's okay. I think it's just documenting. The guy was obviously roasting, but yeah, the light's a bit better at the same time. It's I like the rear light on it, so I don't know. Just something you've got to capture, I think, at the minute. It's not a nice photograph to take because obviously it's uncomfortable seeing people having to have masks on and stuff like that, having their hair cut. And I know because I spoke to the guy who owns the shop, Justin. He said it was difficult because obviously you have the windows open. It was very, very hot and everybody's covered with this stuff. Very uncomfortable for the staff, so it's not nice. And I've obviously spent a lot of time in hospital recently with Ellis, so I know what it's like wearing a mask all the time. So yeah, it's a difficult thing to photograph, but obviously it's a sign of the times. It looked better in real life than it did in the photograph though, sadly. Really like the lady in the hat. I thought the hat made it for me, and the silhouette around her face, and then this really, really protruding mask coming through. And I do like that photograph. That's quite cool. Quite different from me, so yeah, I like that. I like the blue as well. It's a good. I like that picture. Annoyingly, the Osmo ran out of memory just as that lady came up to the camera, and the Osmo ran out of memory, so I didn't get that footage of that. And that's Justin, the guy who owns the hairdressers. Nice guy. I have to put on our social media. But yeah, he was not happy being inside that building at all. Quite like the photograph. I like the way the light's catching the lady there. I think it's done a good job. It's done everything I wanted with the lines and everything like that. I think I'd like to have had the mask a bit more obvious in it and stuff like that, but yeah, it's okay. I'm happy that I've seen it in a lot of these photographs because I consider myself so rusty because we haven't been out with the camera for so long. I just literally didn't expect to get any photographs. I thought it was going to be so poor. So I'm happy to have got some of the shots that I've done, but yeah. I mean, we really like this photograph. The lady was standing in amazing light, and I think after about an hour or two of walking the streets of Bristol, I was starting to find my feet again. It's like jumping back on the bike. I was starting to find my comfort zone. So really happy with that photograph. This nearly didn't make the video. I don't really like the photograph too much because I think it's just like it's a bit repetitive for my normal style of photography, and I'm trying to get away from that. But I love this blue in the corner. I think that's really, really smart. But I like the picture. It's a nice picture, but I don't know. I could have left. I very nearly left it out of the video. Found this chap funny. I mean, I asked him initially where I was going to get back to the docks, yeah, just he really friendly chap. But the way he sat there on the edge of the bus, like parked, I did find it funny. So yeah, had to get that. This was my Mary Poppins shot. So obviously, I'd originally take that like that, the kid walking towards me. But I took it with the intention of it being like that, so I made sure that the frame was filled with the hat, and luckily the young lad was wearing a trilby as he came walking towards me. So yeah, I always call this a Mary Poppins photograph because that's how I always remember the intro of Mary Poppins as being drawn with the chalk. This was basically the only photograph I could think of at the time I was looking forward to seeing because I think she was fantastic, but I messed up because I should have got a picture. I should have said to the lady, "Can I take a picture of your bike?" And with her feet in that position. So I should have got a close-up of this area here with the shoes over with the red bike and the red shoes and the yellow wheel. I really messed up, so I'm kicking myself. I knew it at the time, but I just didn't have the confidence just to go up and say, you know, without her moving. I didn't want her legs to move. I wanted that exact photograph, but just a lot closer up with just the bike and the wheels and the yellow and red, and that would have been a brilliant photograph. But I love, you see the bullet belt, absolutely brilliant. What a character, she's fantastic. Sign of the times, not something you'd ever take a photograph of normally, but just a discarded mask on the floor, obviously blurring it with 2.8 and yeah, waiting for somebody to walk past. So not my normal sort of photograph, but very obviously very important to document what's going on at the minute, so I thought I'd grab that. Now, I like this photograph because she was obviously alone and she had like these silhouettes of like imaginary friends sort of thing around, and I felt as long as the light was going to hide her face enough, I'd be able to show it you. I mean, obviously I couldn't show you the video footage because you can see her face and stuff in the video footage, and my personal choice is just not to identify kids in videos and street photography. But I really like the photograph. I love the colours in the thing. I love the reflection. I like the fact that she looks lonely and stuff, and it's just nice. It's obviously a sad story, but it's a nice story at the same time. So I do like that picture. It's yeah, it's one of the ones I'm pleased with. Came out better than I thought, actually. This was one of my favourite pictures because I love Minnie Mouse in the balloon there, waving at the camera. I thought that was fantastic. Really, really happy with that. Sort of smiling, and I love the exchange of cash there. I wish I'd got more of the guy's hand giving the money, but also I love the silhouette there at the bottom, so you can see the exchange of cash there as well. So really, really pleased with how well that's come out. Really, really nice. Love the colours and everything. It's a really good story. Something that I've noticed other street photographers kind of do, but I never so I don't normally take that style of photograph. So to be able to get a picture like that, I was really pleased with. Obviously not happy having that kid in the background, but very, very small in the background. So yeah, I'd like to have had a bit more of the hand. But yeah, I like the storytelling there anyway, and it's something I'm trying to re-educate my photography towards. Love this shot. Seeing it coming again, it was photographed like that. Seeing it happening in front of me, and knew exactly what I was going to do. So pointing to the floor, you don't arouse any suspicion either because you're pointing at the floor when people walk past. So something to bear in mind. But yeah, definitely, there's next to no cropping on this photograph as well. Literally just cropped the dad out because I didn't want the dad to that side. I didn't want the dad in it. Just love this moment of the two holding hands in the silhouette there. That might be my favourite favourite image of the day. Really, really pleased with that. And then this one, again, very, very different for me. Really love the story. They're falling out of love. He's out the heart. Looks like they're sort of falling out. Initially, I didn't like that he was even there. I'd liked it if she was looking for love because she'd have been in the heart on her own. I really thought him not even being there would have made it better. But then the more I thought of it, it looks like they're falling out of love because he's out of the heart, but he's also in the shade. So he's in the dark. So yeah, he's obviously done something wrong. But yeah, really pleased with the images. Let me know which was your favourite. Hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, hit the subscribe button, and I can't wait to share my big news, and you will be able to get involved hopefully as well. So yeah, do stick around, and I look forward to seeing you again. If you've not been out with your camera, do get out there. It's not as bad. If you're worried about it, it's not as bad as you think it's going to be. So just get out and enjoy. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.